The impending doom of what is already written in the divinational abomination of retirement, and the woe of childbirth, and all of them who seek freedom in a preacher or shepherd that scatters trouble for a creation of law, or seeking out the inventions and wisdoms of God's children. There are many other reasons that a shepherd would do things like this, but it does testify in the Bible that it is a disgrace to the kingdom of heaven to cause trouble in a shepherding of children or rising of children, because it is a future reflection. But speaking about the beginning of the world and its creation to be like a fiery bloodbath of nutrients and metals of all sorts, and in the angel wars where bodies of angels was stacked up in the wars of Adam and Eve in creation, and heaps of mountains were turned into gold and silver and crystals and jewelry and rubies and metals like iron and steel, all kinds of other metals, but blood to be a sugary and salty substance. And then there are other people's bloods in resemblance to our fathers, or the saints, the angels, or the lords and the kings, that resemble different types of metals or different types of chemical makeups of trees, which is also a notable form of dirt, sand, metal, or iron ore, anything kind of like that. But that is the logic of the world in creation of Adam and Eve. And the dragon orb or sphere to be noted with the sun and the moon, the pale moon, the pale rider, the pale moon, and the earth of Babel, Mother Babel, that is to be the Babel of wisdoms that rise in purity in the divination with the dead. The sun, clothed in the son of Paul, the diviner, and the pale rider of death, that the furnace or the candlelight with the archangels is lit, able to speak and purify that legion with Jesus Christ to rise and be purified and be reborn in another child somewhere that an archangel had chosen out of salvation or life and blood for another, taking one's time to consecrate him or herself to the Lord in order for a purity in others, if not himself, be it that the reflection is self, or the many children that one would have above in an upbringing. They say that there are scriptures in the Bible that says that the saints will have up to 1,000 children. Even they will be made like the dust in Hosea 6, and even that will be made like the lice in the clouds, like it says in other scriptures in reference to Revelation 11. But the 4 dragons that are noted to be the foundation of the earth, bailong, with Xerxes as a white rider with Poseidon, the son of Poseidon, Xerxes, the spiritual son. Xerxes through Ariel, and then Jesus, a spiritual son, through King David. And this was before Adam and Eve, and Jesus was crossed in the heavens, and then he came down into the flesh a second time in the legion of Herod's court, and Hercules war the Lord of Lords, King of Kings, who rules this earth, and uh, King David Waglif, who is the king of all 12 tribes, um, to be established in his favored ones, with the archangels able to purify. But Jesus came down a second time in the flesh. These are two spiritual children, Xerxes, a white rider or a speaker, and Jesus, a white rider or a speaker, both with a split tongue, and the fathers are Poseidon of Ariel, and the fathers is Delphi, or King David Waglif of Delphi. They say that Jesus Christ held up a snake to fight Zeus and his son Hercules, his chosen son Hercules. And it also says in some scriptures that in the scales of war, with the battle of the kings in the Colosseums, was Hercules the champion, and freed himself and put Herod the pig, and Jesus and Matthew to the cross. Matthew noted as Levi, also Judah, which is King David's first princehood before he went to Hebron and became the king of all 12 tribes through Abigail, or Beowulf of Abigail. And this is the trial of all of God's children, is the abomination that comes against us, that we are to be blessed to overcome. Law and woman be the curse of all men, but from the own rib of Adam was the creation of woman. To hate that abomination is to be a destruction of self. It is better to consecrate oneself and be open as a candlelight that lights a house and all the people in the house see. So being open with the abomination is well, it could go many ways. Jealousy, like it was with Jesus, and then, uh, or it could be a freedom, like it says in some scriptures. I'm not um, quite familiar with yet, but I know it's in there. But I wanted to take the time in my memoirs to note that the four riders are in this world through the people, but the pale moon and the sun in Revelations 12, that's after the man-child and the woman, it is the war, or, well, I can't, the divination, the abomination is the sun. If it can't be salvaged, it is tossed into the sun for fuel. And the same thing with the moon. No one really knows what the moon lives off of, if it's not a reflection of the sun, but it is a pale moon, and it's, in my understanding, to be the pale rider, and then the sun to be the red rider, and the dark union in space, also in this world, in the dark world called Helheim, with Hell's sanctuary in the clouds above, which are the children in Hosea 6. But then everybody had chosen in the beginning, after the angel wars over Adam and Eve and the creation of self, um, the great god Orion with Ryujin spread himself out into the universe, which was the dragon, the moon, the sun, the black universe, and the stars. That is the red rider, the black rider, the pale moon, pale rider, and the white stars. And the law of gold, this was in the Mayans age when the earth and the sun, the moon, and all those things was still one, um, in the sight of all people. And it split to pieces, and the world had grown, further and further away from God, and seeking to give back what we take from God, and in the form of salvation, the stars that require a fuel for everlasting life. That is to say, once the stars perish from the heaven, you have eaten yourself and become a big brawly man. And not saying that, I can't. All you could do is offer an offering. The law is one of the highest notable entities in the world that perishes themselves from the heavens by eating others' lives with their grave, or with their own star that had already fallen for the use of its grave. You can only offer, whether it is the abomination made to overcome. You offer to the Lord, and the Lord gives back in his favored ones, which are the saints, to edify, uh, well, the legion, the flesh that collects all the goods of the earth, the inheritance, even the abomination. Its name can only be Jesus of the legion, and Jesus being the one dominant over Xerxes in the arc time share with King David Waglif, who had chosen him in Matthew 1:18-25, and then the receipt to a custom with Alphaeus and Levi, noted to be Matthew, after he was crossed next to Jesus Christ for his tax collecting in Herod's kingdom, noted to be a thief. But in the great chapters of Revelations where it talks about the churches, that Hebron was the Philadelphia church and noted to be a liar, and Levi being Judah, where Hebron, King David started as a prince, the true judge, is to be a king like King David, a prince of princes, thief of thieves. It says that in the Philadelphia church they exclaimed to be liars and thieves, gluttons and drunkards. And, well, no one could say, really. All anyone could say in this world is we were put here for fun, festivity, art, and enjoying ourselves in the act of many people who enjoy the company.